Greetings, friends. This is Dr. Richard Marcs, and welcome to A Murder Most Foul, The Life of a Hitman, a reading of my unpublished novel, In Chapters. I hope you'll enjoy it. Chapter 8. Then, Good Morning, Vietnam. It was February 25th, 1967. I was met at Tan Son Nhut Airport by Sarge himself. We took a taxi to the Continental Palace Hotel in District 1, not far from the Opera House. My education had given me a fondness for Italian and German opera, and a revulsion for most French operas, even though now I spoke quite passable French. Our quarters were located on the 4th floor. In fact, our quarters were the entire 4th floor. I was greeted by all my brothers, 2 of whom I hadn't seen in 6 months. Even though I was exhausted from the flights, I thoroughly enjoyed my welcome party, where it seemed as if everything was available. Booze, girls, and everything was free. My room looked over the street, Dao Dang Kai. It was always noisy, but it didn't bother me. One day, I snuck into room 214 and read Graham Greene's The Quiet American at the desk where it was written. But one of my favorite features was a large box on the top shelf of the refrigerator. How many refrigerators were there in Vietnam in 1967? Inside, the box was divided in two. One side held Vietnamese 500 dong notes, while the other held $20, $50, and $100 notes. The advice was, take whatever you need, but don't be stupid. The exchange on the black market was about 170 dong per dollar, so the joke was, 1,000 dong and your dong will hang happy. Of course, all the pimps wanted dollars instead of dong. $10 would get you everything, and a very nice "come on," thank you to boot. And yes, we all thought it sounded like "come on." In case of emergencies, we all wore money belts with $500 hidden in them. You never know. I was warned that the kid in a candy store would last about a month. Then the novelty of booze and slope pussy wore off, and it did. We quickly realized we had a job to do. We were civilians, and none of our operations were sanctioned by the U.S. government, officially. The fact is, I think most of the wet work was at the behest of the Vietnamese military, or, who knows, maybe by another secret organization. God knows there were plenty. It was always funny when we were briefed on an operation to see Sarge giving us orders wearing fatigues with no insignia or a golf shirt. Every op was a sterile op. No uniforms, no insignia. With a tiny Vietnamese general, swimming in medals, standing shaking his head like he was understanding everything. Our job was to conduct specified operations against specific targets. More plainly put, we were assassins. This didn't come as a shock to me, nor did it surprise anyone in my unit. The training at Marcs was very specialized. Rich and Sarge, and the operative or operatives, would confab about each mission to determine the ordnance needed. While the P-38 was always my go-to, a silenced PPK was sometimes needed. The heat and humidity played havoc with our ammo, especially the 7.62, but when distance was needed, the suppressed, allegedly suppressed, M21s did the trick. When it looked like things would get hairy, we would also conference with Dan, or Coop as we started calling him, to discuss the need for explosives. In the 4 years that I was in country being the 4th floor of a luxury, for Saigon in wartime, hotel, I estimate that I went on over 100 missions. I would cut notches in my bed frame for every kill, earning me the nickname Notch, which I used as my handle when I returned stateside. I was shot 5 times in Nam, once in the face, but I lived to tell the tale. Just barely. Thank you for listening to A Murder Most Foul, The Life of a Hitman, copyright 2025, as read by me, the author, Dr. Richard Marcs. A new chapter will be posted each week. A Murder Most Foul is produced and recorded at Batavia Studios in Jakarta. This podcast and A Murder Most Foul, The Life of a Hitman are solely works of fiction, and any similarities to persons living or dead are merely coincidental. The music used in this podcast is the second movement of Franz Schubert's Piano Trio in E-flat, Opus 100. If you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, please feel free to email me at drrichardmarcs@gmail.com. That's drrichardmarcs@gmail.com. If you enjoy the show, please like and subscribe to the podcast and tell a friend. Thank you, and until next week, be more than you seem.